Toast. Oh, we're gonna turn it on, right?
No, it's on already.
Okay. Toast. Toast.
So again.
Toast. Yeah?
Yeah.
G-rated?
It can be just natural. It doesn't
Okay.
have to be R-rated, but you know,
Perfect.
it can just.
Well, we'll keep it not X-rated, that's for sure.
All right, that'll do.
Camera 1, camera 2. Camera 1, camera 2. Oh.
I don't know.
That's all right. We'll be okay.
I'm gonna say 1, 2.
Yeah.
All right. Well, no formal intro in case I change the name, but
You can totally change it. You can change it whenever you want.
welcome, Mark.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, for sure, man. Thanks for having me.
We have Mark Cardone with us, and for anyone who doesn't know you, why don't you give a quick rundown on what you do? A little bit about yourself.
Yeah, for sure. So I own Rooftop Realty Group in the village of Liverpool. Personally, I specialize in commercial real estate. I work with a lot of restaurant owners, retail business owners, but a lot of local business owners in the area, a couple nationals, a couple regionals. And then we've got about 20 agents in the office who focus on residential real estate. So, we met through the Chamber of Commerce. I'm the vice president of the Liverpool Chamber. That's it,
Yeah, great. First impressions. You're like an instantly likable,
oh boy,
funny, positive person that stands out. Do you feel like that comes naturally? Is that part of your sales background and experience, or were you just kind of like the funny guy in class? Or
I wasn't. I wasn't. I don't, and I still don't really necessarily consider myself funny. I just, I like people.
Mm-hmm.
I like people, and I don't know that it's a function of the sales background. I've been in sales since I was 15 years old. But I think really just, my parents were always kind of joking and nice,
Mm-hmm.
and my friend groups were always a little bit on the chill side, and so I'm glad you get that vibe, because I guess that's the vibe I want people to have. But no, I think it's definitely, I guess it comes naturally. I just really like people.
Mm-hmm. Great. So you mentioned you got into sales at 15.
Yeah.
What was that like, door to door?
No, so my first sales job, was actually, I teach karate now. So one of my first sales jobs was selling karate memberships. I worked through that for a little bit. When I was 16, 17, I had some other sales jobs. I've really sold everything from memberships, cell phones. I sold cell phones for, before people had cell phones, which was really cool. You think about that now. Like, one of my sales jobs was convincing people they needed a cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
So that today, unheard of. Like, everybody just has one. In fact, I can't imagine anybody walking in and saying, "Oh, I don't need one of these." But I guess there probably are still people. Cell phones, consumer electronics, memberships, enterprise rent-a-car. So really, like, across the gamut. And honestly, I was never very good at it. Which, I never considered myself good at sales, which is why, I think real estate just lends really well to my natural talents, because, it's a long-term relationship. Some of the clients I work with now, I've worked with since I started in, 2008. So there's just a lot of that trust and natural relationship. But it's a long history of selling things to people, I guess.
Yeah. Do you follow anything like the Sandler method or any formal frameworks? Because I know that's about
no. I think the best sales book I've read is How to Win Friends and Influence People. So I think I read a lot. I do a lot of Dale Carnegie, Zig Ziglar, a little bit of Brian Tracy. He's a little more formulaic in sales, but it all kind of just really revolving around Zig Ziglar. You can have everything in life you want if you help enough people get what they want. So that's really no formal method.
Okay. Forgive me for being naive, but Zig Ziglar, what's a good book?
Oh my goodness. Zig Ziglar is the king of pretty much everything, man. He's great. See You at the Top. I think he wrote Zig Ziglar on selling, but really just YouTube. Like, I mean, I think Ziglar is one of those things you can't really read Ziglar until you listen to Ziglar. So YouTube, TikTok, he's out there. Find it, like find it.
Okay, yeah. I may make myself look like
an idiot. No. It is like, he would be like number 3 in, I guess, like I consider Anthony Robbins like the gateway drug to personal development, right? Because he's like the first thing everybody is kind of, subjected to. Zig Ziglar's right in there with like number 2 and 3, especially as it pertains to sales. And he's brilliant.
What about like more like aggressive people like Tony Robbins or something, or it's like very like persuasive kind of sales gurus? Do you like, ascribe to?
Not really. Yeah. I really don't. Being someone in sales, I really don't believe in sales per se. It's funny. Yesterday, I saw somebody post that they posted on social media that they closed 2 clients that day, and I hate language like that because I feel like if I'm that person, that's being like sold to, I don't want to be somebody like the client who was closed. It has that impersonal feel to it. So yeah, aggressive sales is just not really. I don't believe in aggressive sales. I think when there's buyer remorse, it just doesn't gel well for the community. Yeah. I think I do think there are people who need stuff who need to be kind of pushed into the things they need a little bit. We deal with that a lot in office space where, like sometimes we'll have somebody come and they say, listen, I just need to, pay as little as I want. Right. That's what I want too. Right. Like if someone comes to me and they need a space, I don't want them to overpay for anything, but I also don't want them to limit their business based on the preconceived notions of what they think they can afford, if that makes sense. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I think when you genuinely care and have your best interest in mind, it doesn't feel like sales.
It feels like you're really helping, and you try to guide people to make the right decisions, and you're always going to miss the mark. There's always going to be people who don't want to pay for what they need, or people who just end up overpaying and then some. But you do. I think if you just have the best interest of the people you're working with at heart, you'll be fine, and the world will work.
Yeah, I feel like some people say like, there's no such thing as like bad leads. Where do you see that line falling somewhere that like, if you don't close a sale, do you feel like most of the time it's like people's selling ability, or is it just that lead is not really qualified?
So I have a lot of feelings on that because I say that all the time, right? And it depends on the industry. It really does, and I think in real estate, it's a little easier to say, there are no bad leads because really in real estate, everybody at some point is going to touch real estate. 99% of people you talk to, is going to buy a house, rent an apartment, lease a commercial space, buy a commercial building at some point in their 100 years on the planet. So in real estate, there really are no bad leads. Everybody's a lead. It's just, real estate's really the ability to segment the leads into, in the next 3 months, in the next 3 years, in the next 30 years, and putting the right attention. But in other businesses, that I've been in, because I've heard that, really what I equated that to is there's definitely leads that don't need your product. Like what you do, there are, like my grandmother is probably not a client that you're going to end up, and even if she was, she's not a high value enough client to pay attention to. Right? And I think in the world today, it's great because those are the people that we make content for. Like a lot of the content we make, it's not necessarily for, hopefully our ideal people find it, but we're giving free information out to the people who really, they don't need us. But even the bad leads, I think if you're new and if you're someone who's just getting into sales, the leads that aren't necessarily qualified, aren't necessarily good, really give you the opportunity to practice the craft of just caring about people, right? Because listen, I might not be a good lead, but that doesn't mean you should be mean to me. It doesn't mean you should write me off as a whatever. So I think even the bad leads give you the opportunity to grow into a better person.
Nice.
If that makes any sense whatsoever.
I think that's a good philosophy. That reminds me, one time we met, you were talking about your follow-up strategy, and I thought that was a pretty funny quote. about you have like a workflow or like a whiteboard.
Oh yeah. I have a flow chart that's follow up till dead. And really, like I said, for real estate, it's such a long cycle that it's, follow up with the person. Because that, I think, for people who are listening who are in sales, I remember my first few sales jobs, the question was always like, should I follow up? When should I follow up? Is it a week? Is it a month? Is it a year? And, really, the follow up till dead method it's always different for everybody. It's different depending on the urgency. It's different depending on the lead. But really, like, if somebody's not a lead for my real estate company, then I'm still talking to them on social media. I'm still, making content that's reaching them. So I think, for the most part, if you're in real estate specifically, you follow up forever because you never know. Or you follow up until that lead's just, can't do anything.
Yeah. Great. How has social media impacted your success? Has it just been a fun thing to do? Have you felt it have an impact on your business?
It's definitely had an impact on my business. It's given me a lot more to do. I don't think anybody's thinking like, oh man, thank God we have social media. Now my life's easier.
Yeah.
It's definitely not. It's waking up, Sunday morning going, what am I going to post this week? What does the schedule look like? What is the, but I think what social media has done is it's made it a lot easier to stay connected with people for sure, because I don't have to send out birthday cards anymore. I can just send messages on social media.
Yeah.
I still send birthday cards to some people, but I think it's streamlined a lot of the process. In sales, it's made reaching out to people a lot easier, because I don't have to go door to door. I can just shoot a Facebook message. But really, what I think social media has done is it's given us the ability to stay connected with our client base, our past clients. Because I think in sales specifically, the obnoxious thing is calling and saying, hey, it's been 3 months. Do you need anything? Hey, it's been 3 months. Do you need anything? Social media has kind of given us the ability to just, listen, I'm here to entertain people, to keep them happy, to stay connected until eventually they need something. And I love that so much, because it just removes that pressure to always be selling. Some people are really bad at it, and that's all they do, and immediate cringe and delete. But
no, I actually appreciate your content. It's
Thank
very
you.
positive and not pushy. It's just like inspirational things, being an entrepreneur, and then occasionally, hey, got these real estate places available, but no one feels pushed.
Right. Every so often, you got to tell people what you do, but not every day.
Yeah.
They know. They know.
Speaking of obnoxious.
Yeah. Geez. Speaking of obnoxious.
And selling. I always loved the video clip of Alec Baldwin in Glengarry.
Oh my God.
Glen Ross. When I finally actually saw the movie, I made it about halfway through, and I just felt like so
icky.
Like the old guy who's really trying to sell, struggling to sell, like the timeshares or whatever. Just made me feel like whatever. Did
you see my? I don't know if you saw yesterday. So 2 days ago, this was funny, because this is something that drives me crazy about social media. Is when I talk to my agents and I talk to other salespeople when I'm doing any kind of sales training about social media, I say, listen, picture you walked into a room, right? And your connections are the people in that room, right? So maybe it's your friends, maybe it's your family, maybe it's your past clients. And essentially, when you post, what you're doing is you're shouting at that room. You're shouting something at that room, or you're not just joining the conversation. You're kind of stating something, and it should be a natural thing, right? So Monday, I did a post. My wife was up until, she does residential. She was up until like 11 p.m. Just working with a client and doing the thing. And I posted something about just how I'm inspired when I see people, who can do it all, right? And doing it all a lot of times means being up until midnight, right? And I did this post, and one of the first comments I got was somebody that I like recently connected with, trying to sell me something in my comments. And I call it post jumping. I don't know if that's a real thing. And I posted a picture of Alec Baldwin doing the always be closing, because that's what I do when people do that. But it just total ick. When people go on social media and they're like, hey, happy birthday, www dot whatever. And it's like, don't post your stuff in my, it would be like if you were having a conversation at a chamber lunch, you just kind of poked your head in and went, hey, I sell insurance. Do you want any? Like Ned Ryerson from Groundhog Day. Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's crazy. Yeah. People do it all the time.
But I sometimes like that the Alec Baldwin scene like kind of does pump me up a little bit though, because there is some like truth to it. Like, you don't have to be like such a jerk, but it's like, at the end of the day, it's like about, winning and that mindset.
First prize Cadillac, second prize steak knives, third prize you're fired.
Yeah.
It's true. I had real estate jobs like that. Actually, one of my real estate jobs, there was a picture of Alec Baldwin holding the steak knives on my wall, and I think my boss put it there as like a reminder, like get going. Sales is hard. It's it's a balance between being aggressive and getting because you got to make money, right? But also being somebody that's approachable, that people can trust, that people want to talk to.
Touched on staying up till 11 or midnight. I feel like that ties to, being an entrepreneur. But how do you balance family life? Talk about your family.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird, because I don't think I do really. I don't believe in work-life balance. I think, I think I sleep some hours, and it's really. What I'm really good at is I'm about quality in the minutes I'm in, so like we're doing a podcast right now. I try to be like, I'm here for the podcast. I'm not thinking about other things. And and as an entrepreneur, I mean, that's a really difficult thing to do, is to take the stuff out of your brain, because we're working 24 hours a day, so when I'm home with my kids at night, and especially now that they're teenagers, right, I get minutes. I don't get those long sweeping hours. I get minutes of talking, listening, a meal together. So putting the phone away, and actually being present in the moment, I think eliminates a lot of the need for that. Because when I'm working, I'm working. When I'm home, I'm home. If a client needs something, I'm available. But it's funny when people say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I texted you so late." It's like, I don't look at it. If it's, if I'm sleeping, I'm not waking up to read your text.
I'm pretty bad at that. I need to get better. So sorry, Laura. I'm working on it.
It's hard. It's very hard. It's hard to disconnect. And I remember in the early days of my company, it was even harder, because you want to be 24 hours available. And it's one of those challenges that. I remember when the kids were little and they needed a lot of time. It was much harder, and it just you work it out. But I think at the end of the day, family's first. I mean, I'd rather have my business crash into the ground, than die thinking, man, I wish, I can't believe I missed all that time with my kids. So,
how many kids do you have?
Two teenage girls.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And how is that?
It's great.
Being dad of teenage girls.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it has its moments. There's great days and there's hard days, and really, I think the hardest days are when you realize that, they're not. You're not the picturesque dad from TV. Like I think it's, as much as I'd love to be the TV dad that's perfect, you're not. The kids don't respond the way that you want them to sometimes, but understanding, Joyce and I had this conversation at dinner last night, understanding that they deserve the same like freedoms and everything that our parents gave us, and just letting them be makes life easier. But it's great. I would never trade it.
I feel like I identify pretty closely with Everybody Loves Raymond.
Oh, for sure.
I feel like that's me as TV dad.
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty close.
I can see that.
Mean well, but no. Do you set up any like scheduled time? Do you be like, we're going to have dinner at this time, or I'm going to be there for bedtime, or I'm going to be there for getting ready in the morning, or on Wednesdays we're all going to be home? Like, do you have like any kind of schedule, or it comes and goes?
It kind of, I don't have anything set. When they were little, and I don't know who coined this, so I feel bad saying it because I got it from somebody else. But it was like and I'm paraphrasing horribly, But it was like the most important times you can spend with your kids were the 5 minutes when they wake up, the 5 minutes when they come home from school, and the 5 minutes before they go to bed. And if you get those 15 minutes or more, you will be a good parent, and they'll end up being well adjusted. And I drive my girls to school every morning, so that's like it's funny. My daughter, we got stuck in traffic, and we now call it. Everyone's going to make fun of me. We now call it terrific because it's great time because we get to spend extra time together. So my daughter calls it terrific. Yeah. It's so ridiculous. But yeah, I drive them to school in the morning. I spend a couple minutes just kind of rounding up with them at the end of the day before they go to bed. I do not let them with their homework because that is the quintessential dad joke of dads trying to help with math homework. Don't do it. It's not worth the stress. Just let your kids do math however they want to do it. But and especially now that they're teenagers, they're busy. So it's less structured and more just take it as it comes.
Yeah. Are you originally from the area, local?
I am born and raised.
All right. Liverpool.
Yeah. Are you from here? Are you from here?
No, I'm from the downstate area.
Okay. I think I remember that.
Yeah, I grew up in the Hudson Valley. My family's all from Queens, Ireland before that.
Wow.
I lived in Queens for a few years, and during COVID, I moved from my 500 square foot basement apartment. Was married. Bought a big old house. I zoomed out on Zillow, and I was like, I can get a good deal. I think my parents, it's like for a third of an acre, for like just like a high ranch is like $600,000-$700,000 around the area. Now it's like you can get like 150.
Right. Yeah.
So it's
upstate's pretty nice.
Yeah. What would I mean? Like I feel like so many people. I don't know if it's a symptom of just like a lot of people like have grumblings against like their hometown or like where they grew up. What is like your case for?
I love it here. Yeah. I love it here. Yeah. I love it here. And you're right. Misery loves company. And I think complaining is the lowest common denominator of conversation, which is why it's easy. You walk into an office and say, "Hey, nice day we're having." 90% of people are going to go, "Yeah, but whatever," and they're going to have that but something bad. I think I think people have familiarity with their hometown, but I think Syracuse is great. Like we have a lot of good stuff. Of course, it's got problems. I mean, it's the world. There's no perfect, but I mean we have snow. We don't have tornadoes. We don't have hurricanes. We don't have fire ants. I mean, in real estate, like my early years, I traveled a ton, and I've been to a lot of different places. And weather aside, there's places where the weather's nicer, but sometimes in those places there's deadly spiders and things I don't want to deal with. I don't want to have my house sprayed for cockroaches. Yeah. I love it here.
I love the snow. So like. A lot of places in the South, I think, checked a lot of boxes versus like, land and all these things. But then it's like no snow. It's like, fuck. Because I feel like the worst. I like probably the whole year seasons wise. Yeah. But probably now is my least favorite, where it's like the snow's gone. It's not like quite green, but that's the worst of it. Whereas like in North Carolina or something, it's just kind of like dead grass for like 4 months.
Yeah, this podcast will be national soon, so there's going to be people all over the country complaining about me. But really, like Florida, I would never live in Florida. Florida is, I don't know why people live there. Sorry, Florida. Anything south of Pennsylvania, I feel like they just move slower. But then you get to like New York City and Manhattan, and I could never move at that pace. Right, it's too fast. Yeah. So I feel like Syracuse just has that. The pace is nice. The weather's fine. Yeah. And we have great food. Like we have a lot of great restaurants up here. Lakes. It's just a cool spot. Yeah. Minutes from Canada. So
I'm pretty ignorant and new to like all the history and things. But I plan to find out more as I talk to people.
For sure.
But I mean, like to me, it's kind of Midwest. It's kind of Rust Belt. It's kind of New England. Kind of like a little Canadian influence. But 1950s Syracuse is like great American city.
Yeah.
I mean that's a common thing across a lot of places. Former huge manufacturing industrial spaces that are now after a lull. I think kind of having a little bit of a comeback or revival.
We have some really cool stuff. When the kids were really little, we used to go on these field trips to just different small towns in upstate New York and see what they had. And I mean, there's some really cool stuff up here. There's like a chocolate festival somewhere near like Hobart. There's a Jello museum and outside of Rochester. It's amazing how much like historical stuff we have. I mean, even the Village of Liverpool. It's if you ever go in the museum, the Village Hall Museum, there's some really just interesting history up here.
Yeah, and I take for granted I went to public school in New York and I learned so much about a lot of upstate things that I think I take for granted. Like I don't think other states really learned about them. Like the Erie Canal.
Yeah,
there was like a song about it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
and we're pretty close to that. It runs through more where I live. Fort Ticonderoga. I'm trying to think of like all those things we learned about growing up, but it's pretty unique.
When you go to the state fair, like anyone here, if you go to the New York State Fair, as much as like the entertainment stuff's great, I'm now at the age where I find history interesting, which means I'm old. I think it's because I'm part of history now.
Yeah, but I think 30s and 40s men go into like history of World War II or the Roman Empire.
And they have some great, like some of those buildings that you never go in where they're not selling stuff. They have some really cool, just old stuff, and you see it. And I think the agriculture building has like milk jugs from upstate New York, going all the way back to the 1800s, and it's fun to look at.
Yeah, nice. I'm gonna pivot back before we circle back to New York. But I want to get some insight onto you as an entrepreneur. I know we talked about sales.
Yeah.
So you own a real estate business.
Yeah.
It's not part of like a national chain, which I feel like 90% plus are. So what's that journey look like? When did that start?
It was a weird journey. It started on a train to New York City. I was going to a conference. I was only doing commercial real estate. I left a conference. It was a 6-hour train ride home. I had a notebook. And I was reflecting on my life and just saying, this industry is lackluster, I guess is the word, for commercial real estate specifically. I work with a lot of amazing people, at our company and at other companies. But by and large, it's always been very hard for small business owners to win in the commercial real estate game early on, because when we talk, I hate this term, so I hope this doesn't construe a different way, but the idea of low value clients, right? Which is basically, for people who aren't in sales, it's people you don't make a lot of money on, right? And if you're a business owner, you want to focus on the people that you're going to make the most money on, because then you don't have to work as much, right? And, in commercial real estate, because there's such swings, you're going to make a lot more money selling a $10 million shopping center than you are helping somebody open their first bakery. You know what I mean? So a lot of times those people get skipped by the people who know what they're doing, and they end up with an agent who, may not understand commercial real estate, may not know the ins and outs of certain things. And they end up having mistakes. And I think if you talk to a lot of small business owners who say, hey, my first deal, I ran into all these issues. A lot of it's just because they didn't have the ability to work with somebody who really knew what they were doing. So that's why we partnered. I mean, you're having another guest on that I work with, but that's why we partnered with the Small Business Development Center. It was basically to give free training to entrepreneurs who said, listen, I don't care if you need a room, I don't care if you need a small space. You deserve that level of care and information, that you would get from somebody who was representing national clients, national tenants, and things like that. So that's really how I started. We started our consulting company working with small business owners. We have some national clients that we represent, as like a virtual director of real estate for New York State. And then we reflected that into the residential side and just said, we really want to help everybody. We want to do our best to just make sure people get number one, a killer experience. We want to make sure they have a good time in the process, which if you've been through the real estate process, it is the looking at the houses is the fun part. Everything else is kind of dicey. So, we really made it our mission to get out there and make the process fun. It's not for everybody. Some people want a very serious real estate agent. We have that a little bit, but I think, one of my goals in life is just to be able to show people that you can be yourself, you can enjoy life, you can post goofy pictures on social media, and you can still be like laser focused and really good at what you do. I think those two things feel mutually exclusive. Like if I'm not wearing a suit and I'm not doing Instagram reels of me professionally walking around buildings, that it means I'm less good at what I do. And I don't believe that. I really think you can have both.
The real estate process can definitely be stressful. I feel like I gained like 20 pounds between like when our offer went through, gave our offer to like when we closed 3 months later.
There's like this 4-week process where nobody knows what's happening. It's like in the magical hands of the attorneys.
And especially if in our case, it was our first house and it's like, we're going to move, 4 hours away. So it's like a lot hinges on like, okay, is this going to go through? And we did a not construction loan, but like renovation loan. So it's like, we're going to get the house, but we have to do this. And it's actually going to cost twice as much as like what the list value is. So it's a lot of, factors. It was so stressful. It took really a year and a half fully to close because of doing all the work, but I'm glad that's over. I don't want to move again for a little bit.
No, it really is. And, and there's, especially for first time, think about that from a commercial real estate standpoint. There's a lot of uncertainty in the process. And I think what you see on TV when people watch real estate shows, you see the 20% of the transaction that's fun, because nobody wants to watch the other 80%. A lot of
work's already done beforehand or
so
decided
much of it,
beforehand.
But really, like 80% of our time is spent just holding, the package together and making sure that everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. And sometimes that leaks out, and that's when the experience gets a little dicey. So, just being good at communicating is huge.
And I want to touch on also, I'm a big believer in personal brand. So I think you really you really nailed that. Like saying you feel like someone may feel less good if they're not in a suit walking around like high rise, like we lease 10,000 square foot to like this exclusive client. Like that doesn't mean like they're a better real estate agent, right? It's like they just have a different ideal client profile or a different audience where people you're after now aren't really gonna even go with that guy. So.
They're gonna, your people find you, right? And I think personal branding is huge. There's benefits to it. There's repercussions from it. There's people that will never work with me because it's funny. So when I first started Rooftop, we brought on a real estate agent. I'm not gonna say his or her name because she will definitely listen to this. He or she will definitely listen to this. But she worked with us for about 6 months and then she left because she just thought my social media was too unprofessional. And she is one, and we are best friends now. We really are. And she's with another company and we do a lot. We just did a deal together. But I really think I remember at the time thinking, geez, do I have to straighten myself out? Right. But I think, at the end of the world, you just be you, just do, when people ask me about branding, it's what do you like? What are you into? Do those things. And of course you can switch, you can change, you're a human, but yeah.
I only really started selling maybe 2 years ago, getting into this, but I feel like I've learned, I really believe in the, working with people like and trust. I feel like that if you're just yourself, they're gonna get to know you anyway, right?
Yeah. So that's my gripe against artificial intelligence headshots. I just think if it's if sales, and this is real estate and everything, but if sales in general is a know, like, and trust business, I think the worst thing you can do is lead with something that's fake, right? Because it's that instant, is that real person?
Yeah.
Or is it not?
Yeah.
I authenticity is all of it. Yeah. And you're doing sales, you're likable, right? Why make yourself less likable because you think it's going to benefit you financially? Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and it's honestly a little lazy. I've tried it. I tried once, and I was like, oh, I'll spend $35. I'll see how this works. And I was like, no, it's just like uncanny valley, like, you know, claymation sort of like, scary.
I love making them. I love posting them. But, you know, when you see me, you know who you're seeing. Yeah. It's, you know.
When do you feel like you made it? Was there a goal you had? Did you set a goal? It just kind of happens?
I still don't feel like I made it.
Okay.
You'll know. And, you know, I think any entrepreneur, like, you never feel it. You just, you know, I think the entrepreneur life is, you know, you have rock and roll days, you have trash days. You know, there's times when you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning completely questioning your existence. And, you know, my close friends will tell you that's something I try to normalize, is that, you know, because I think people think there's something wrong with that, you know, and it's not. It's you know, part of the process is constantly, you know, kind of burning yourself down and building yourself back up. You know, I don't post my bad days on social media because listen, nobody wants to see it, nobody cares. Right. But, you know, and I think it is important as an entrepreneur to have close friends, close entrepreneur friends, close personal friends that you can talk to when you have those shit days, because they happen. But yeah, I don't know that I'll ever feel like I quote unquote made it. Listen, you know, winning the Business of the Year with the Chamber was, you know, Joyce and I were walking around going, you know, do you realize we won this award and we won this award? And, you know, you would think at that point, you're like, oh, like, we've arrived. But you always want to do better. You know, you always want to serve more people. You always want to, you know, improve your process. So yeah, I mean, I'm grateful for where we are. I think we're in an amazing place in the real estate community, in the business community, in our little neck of the woods that is Liverpool. But yeah, I don't think I'll ever be, hey, here we are.
I think people are successful or win those awards are the people that aren't trying to win those awards for the sake of winning awards, or trying to hit a revenue goal just for the sake of revenue, right? I think it's like when you're doing the work and focusing on the work and doing it well, like that stuff is like a byproduct.
Yeah, we've always said, again, I don't know who said it, but money is the applause you get when you do good work, you know, and I think that is, you know, something that we talk about a lot at Rooftop is, you know, you don't do things because you're going to get something, you know, like you don't do a presentation for a bunch of business owners with the expectation that, well, I'm only going to do it if I make money doing this, right? Or if I'm going to get a lead from this. Like, you do the right things. And if you do the right things, I have no idea how it works, you know, but the world figures it out. You get taken care of. Things, you know, we'll do something over here that takes, you know, half a day and we don't get paid for, you know, but then this magical lead will show up over here. And I think you just have to do what's right.
Yeah. I don't know what the quote is, but it's the essence of the world rewards action. So as long as you're just reaching out, trying all these different things, even if it's something unrelated, just things sort of magically sort of come together.
It all works. You know, the universe is a funny thing, and I'm careful when I say that because, you know, people are very calculated and technical, and I like to say, dude, I don't know. Like, when people say, "What's your ROI on something?" I have no idea. I never track that stuff because, you know, going to a community event or a charity event, you know, and throwing $1,000 at it because it's something I believe in and I want to help. You know, like, I feel dirty measuring ROI off of that. It's just like, I'm going to do it whether I make money or not. And then somehow it works out. So.
How do you feel you stay consistent or push through on days where you're just like not feeling it?
I don't.
You know?
Do you?
I try to set up like systems. So I'll at least do X things a week, either on autopilot or I'm like, I just got to get it done.
Yeah.
Rather than like I'm driving home from an event, I'm like 1:30, I'm like, I'm done for the day. Like nothing's going to get done now if it's just like up to like my emotions. But I'm like, all right, I said I have to do this thing by tomorrow. if I get this blog post out once a week, or I gotta get this video out once a week, like if I check off the boxes, it doesn't matter like how I'm feeling, because that's a dangerous game for me. Like, just like get discouraged, or you start questioning your existence, or like, I should just like go work at Wegmans, or
That's my life. Yeah, that's my life. It's basically a train wreck of I didn't do a thing and I feel bad about myself, and then I get back and do it. But tools I use that I've really found a lot of good with. A long time ago, and I don't even know if it's still available, there was a guy named David Allen who had the Get Things Done method. It was a book. And I use Outlook, and literally I wake up every morning with 250 tasks on my Outlook, and that's everything from phone calls that I have to make to offers that I have to write to searches that I have to do to finding the sock that my dryer ate. Like, it's funny. I have like movies that I watch at the beginning of every month to get my brain back where I want it. Right. And even that, like, I remember talking to Joyce once, and I'm like, I have too many tasks. And she saw that one and she says, do you really need to watch these movies as a task? And I go, yeah, because I don't want to forget it. And that was one of the things in that book, where he just said, you write everything down. You put it all out of your head, and you schedule it and put it where it needs to go so you don't forget things. So that's one thing that helps me a ton, because I never get through all 200 and however many things that show up every day. But, at least I get through the important ones. And then the other thing I started doing this year, because my friend Mike Crowley, who you should also talk to about doing this, was Darren Hardy's weekly rhythm register. Which is, you can Google it. It's a PDF. It's a great tool, but it's just like a grid Monday through Saturday, and you put little check boxes when you do things. Showed it to you right now. It's dead empty. I haven't done anything.
Okay.
But it's a good tool to kind of keep you on track.
What are some of those movies that get you in the right mindset?
Okay, so they're goofy. Number one, Mary Poppins.
Okay.
Absolutely love Mary Poppins. It's one of my favorites. And I don't watch all of them every month, but I pick one depending on how I'm feeling. So Mary Poppins, there's a movie that's called About Time with Rachel McAdams. That's a great one. 1,000 Words with Eddie Murphy. I don't know why I love that one, but it's good.
All right, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, it's a great movie. I think those are the three that I can think of off the top of my head.
Right.
But they're not business movies. They're just get you in the right frame of mind as a human, as a parent, as a person, husband. I mean, how many roles do you have in your life?
Yeah.
A lot. And I think we get hyper focused on the business owner one, and I think it's important to keep the other ones high on the list.
Good take. I feel like mindset is so important, and sometimes way more important than traditionally, like being organized, being prepared, hustle, grind, put in the reps. Maybe it depends on person or personality, but for me, I feel like mindset is the biggest determining factor in like my success of the week or even the day.
Yeah.
If you have any feelings about that.
I have lots of feelings on mindset. I mean, the mindset is, it's the only thing really, and I really do, people fight me on this, but it's not good, so don't buy it, anybody who's listening to this, but we have the Blessings in the Bullshit journal, that we sell off of our podcast. And, I really do, I'm a firm believer that everything that happens to me is for me, and it's I don't care if it's good. I don't care if it's perceived as bad. I don't care what it is. And I think that is something that's hard for people to adopt. Terrible that happens in their life. And really, yes, you're allowed to feel it, right? Like, yes, you're allowed to experience it. You're allowed to talk to people about it. I don't think you should run away from bad things that happen to you. But I think there has to be a level where you can look at it and say, you said, the world rewards action, right? What is the thing I'm taking from this that's making my life better? And I really think that I've never run into a situation where it has not worked out in my favor because of that. You know what I mean? And I think adopting the mindset of it's hokey, but I think it's hokey because it's true. Everything that happens is a blessing. Everything's an opportunity. And if you can become someone that's of the mindset, even if you can't find it in that moment, right? But you can take some time and sit with a thing and sift through it, and say, wow, this is a big win. And here's why. And here's the action I'm going to take out of it. I think you end up in a better mindset altogether because there's never bad. Like there's never a bad thing that happens. So I really think, of all the life lessons I've learned, that's it. That's the one.
Hi. Do you have any things that quantify like what you can control and what you can't control?
I don't think I can
tell the difference.
If it's not in between my ears, man, I don't think I control anything. I think everything's out of my control. I can control my actions, and when we talk to people about goal setting and things like that, we always talk about not setting goals based on results, but setting them based on action. Because, listen, if somebody wants to, lose 50 pounds, the worst thing you can do is set a goal to lose 50 pounds. You should set a goal to exercise 3 days a week, because I can't control what my body does, but I can definitely control, picking myself up and walking myself to the gym and doing the thing. So, I really think that's the, when it comes to goal setting, when it comes to things like that, it's really just looking at those actions.
Yeah. I feel like when I actually look back, I had a hard time, I think, setting outcomes as goals instead of output, right? So it's like, oh, my goal is to make this much revenue by this point, and then I'm finding that doesn't.
Everybody and really, it's hard because that's how the goal people teach you how to set goals, right? It's well, I want to earn 6 figures by the end of the year and blah blah blah. When really, like, if you sit down and you say, okay, well, if I want to be a person who makes 6 figures, what does that person do on a daily basis? And then I'm gonna make it my goal to do that 4 days out of 5. You're gonna win the game. But I like that. Like, output is, better than outcome. That's a good way to put it.
You've been a podcaster yourself for 10 years?
Something like that. 5, 10, yeah.
How did that all start?
I don't even. So it was a Memorial Day parade.
Okay.
I ran into one of my friends, and he was talking about doing it, and we went out and bought a microphone, and we recorded a couple episodes, and it's great. I remember our voices trembling. I remember we edited the unholy everything out of it. Like, it was amazing how much editing we did. But yeah, and we've met some amazing people. Like, we've had some great guests. And I think that's really what we've enjoyed the most about it and what we do still enjoy the most about it is just, we can really, like, hang with some cool people that have good things to say.
And for those that aren't aware, what is the podcast?
It's the Achieve Results Now podcast. We're on everything, I think. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, it's been an experience. We're 450 episodes in. We've had local people on, we've had national people on. But it's really, it's not real estate related. We wanted to keep it as generic as possible so we could really open it up, to everybody. But it really just trying to answer that question. Like, success isn't that hard. It's actually, the steps to do it are pretty easy. But a lot of people just don't do it. And I think one of the things, like we were talking about, I think what people can relate to is the fact that, like, we're all flawed. Like, we all have things. I guarantee you, everybody listening right now has a list of things that they know if they did those 5 or 6 things would completely transform their existence. But they're just too busy, or they can't do it. And if they really, like, search, they're not too busy. It's a fear that we have, almost built into us that, well, if I step out of what I'm doing and I do this, my life could get better, but what if it doesn't? Or what if my dream explodes because it doesn't work out? and really getting people on a podcast to just talk about that. It's been great.
Yeah, nice. Speaking of podcasts, we'll probably go towards the close of this because cameras are dying. This one's back, that one's dead.
For sure.
So we'll go to a couple of quick questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
We touched on it earlier, but make the case for someone to move to upstate New York.
Great people. Just caring, awesome people who, the weather's great, people are great. Real estate wasn't expensive until like this year.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a very cool place to live. A lot of stuff to do. And we're also, from a New York specific perspective, we're also like 2 hours from everything. Right. Like you can go to New York City in 4, you can get to Buffalo in 2.5, Albany.
Yeah.
Just a nice place to live.
Yeah.
You're here?
Yeah, of course. Obviously. Besides upstate New York, perfect world, another scenario, where would you move to?
Seattle.
Seattle, okay.
Yeah. Just because, like I said, early career, I traveled everywhere. Like we were literally every state. And I just love that side of the world. Mm-hmm. It's second to upstate New York. Like I would live here first, no matter what. Right. But yeah, like Seattle-esque, like that side of the country, I like.
All right. To feel it's the weather, climate, culture.
Rain.
Okay. Yeah.
I like rain.
Very green.
Huh?
Green.
Green. Yeah. It's just very cool.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Wegmans or Costco?
Oh.
You have to pick one.
Yeah, well, so I am a hater of Costco.
Okay.
I'm a Costco hater.
All right.
So my wife loves it. I'm not a Costco. So I would have to go with Wegmans. But Wegmans pre-2000 Wegmans.
Okay. Why?
Just used to have more variety of product. Used to have less, things clouding up the aisles. But yeah, definitely Wegmans.
I think they both have cult followings.
They both have cult followings. It's
Costco's more of a cult.
I feel like every time I go to Costco, I spend $500 and all the stuff expires before I eat it. So Wegmans.
Favorite regional food? So it's not a specific place, but a type of upstate specific. I can give some examples if you want.
Favorite regional food? I mean, listen, I love a good hot dog. I give Hyde's as a guilty pleasure. I think if I go out to Rochester, like a Zweigel or, pizza, going back to why you should live here, pizza is phenomenal in upstate New York. It's better than any other state's pizza. So that might be hot dog or pizza.
Okay. Yeah. Pizza is my favorite food. I don't know if I'd even totally qualify it as upstate New York specific, but being from the city, in New York City, I am not disappointed. I'm totally content. I try not to eat pizza too much anyway, but it's it's number one for me. And I'm totally at home up here. It's great.
I don't know that we have anything like specifically upstate that's I think we have a lot of things, but I think hot dog, pizza with a hot dog in it. I don't know.
Okay.
Somewhere in there.
Nice. That could be your next.
That could be my next TikTok.
Entrepreneurial
Absolutely.
Venture. So, maybe related. Favorite hidden gem in upstate New York. So it could be a food spot. It could be a place you'd like to go.
I don't have one. I don't have a favorite. There are so many, and I know we're sitting in the gem, which this is a great one. I don't know that this is hidden. I think everybody knows about it.
Maybe it doesn't have to be hidden.
Yeah, I think Gem Diner's great. Oh man, that's a tough question. There are so many cool spots up here. Love PB&J's Lunchbox over in Liverpool. Mm-hmm. It's just like a cool little place to grab food. There's some good ones. And any food truck. Okay. So maybe my favorite hidden gem is the food truck rodeo at Great Northern Mall every Wednesday in the summer, because you can eat for hours for like $20-$30, mm-hmm. And it's great.
Nice.
Food truck food.
Yes, that's a good one. Favorite TV show theme song?
So the one I sing the most often to my wife is the Family Ties theme song. So I would say I have two of them. So number one is Family Ties. Number two is the Jeffersons.
Okay, yeah.
Just because I love the song from the Jeffersons, man. It's so good.
Right. Any hot takes? Something that you believe that most people wouldn't agree with?
I would go back to mindset. I'd go back to there's amazing things in every crazy thing that happens, and the instant thing is, what about when people die? What about natural disasters? What about you got to fight it? You have to be able to adjust your mind to fight that battle. So yeah, hot take that I have is that everything that happens is happening for you, and you got to figure that out in your life. And if you do, great thing, like you will see a side of the world that you've never seen before.
Nice. Any advice you'd give your younger self?
Honestly, I think 15-year-old me is high-fiving the crap out of me right now.
Nice. It's a good place to be.
Yeah, really. Like, I'm a business owner. And I think I'm a good business owner, if that's a thing. I have a beautiful wife. I have great kids. I am 100% myself out in the world. Like, I really think, so I think all of those things are advice I would give my younger self. I would say, follow your heart in what you want to do. Marry somebody who you love, not somebody who you just picked because they're pretty. Even though my wife is very pretty. Have kids. I think having kids was one of the greatest moments of my life. I'm people who don't have kids, I don't think they see it, but definitely have kids and just help people. Like when you have the ability, help people.
Right. Yeah. Final words. Actually, no.
I hope they're not final. I hope I have more later.
We'll get to the final words. Working on anything big, events, projects?
Nothing earth-shattering. I would say it's really just, kind of stepping up the stuff that we do now. We're really, trying to take a lot of the educational stuff we do and put it online. That's one of the, first steps, because we really want like our small business real estate program to be available everywhere, not just in upstate New York, because we're having a lot of fun with it. And the same thing with like our real estate agent training. Right now our real estate company is really based on building a business through service, so we're working on a project that's called Volunteer Like It's Your Job, and it's really about getting involved in the community. And we're trying to do the same thing with that, put it online so that we can impact more people that way.
Great. And where can people find you?
Google my name and don't click on Grant Cardone. So it literally, if you
speaking of sales,
of this, the polar opposite. Yeah. Grant's a good dude. He follows me on Twitter, nice. And I don't know if he ever sees my stuff, but Mark Cardone on Instagram. MarkCardone.com is the website. Connect. Everyone who connects with me gets a personal message that says hello. Nobody ever responds to it, which is totally weird to me.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Nice. And final words for the podcast. What's one piece of advice for an entrepreneur that's stuck right now?
Do the right thing. Keep if you're an entrepreneur and you're in business, always do what's best for the person you're serving. Never, they say when money comes into the picture, God leaves the room. Always do what's best, even if it means losing money, for the people you're serving.
Wise words. Mark Cardone, thanks for coming on.
Dude, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for
Happy first episode. Listeners, make sure you subscribe. Leave a 5-star review, because this was a great episode.
Thanks. All right. Thank you, Mark.
You got it, dude.
Stay tuned, everyone. Peace out.
Good job, dude. It was great.
Thanks.
Great questions.
Thanks.
Jesus, you made me think about life today.
Nice. That's what I want to do. There's so many business ones or whatever. I'm trying to make it stand out. So
yeah,
we'll see if it all works.
Yeah, it will.
This is still going, so that's good.
It always works out. I shouldn't go home with this on.